Sand Springs, Oklahoma is truly a fascinating and unique town whose tremendous contributions in rare history have been long overlooked. Created largely by the sheer force of a single individual, Sand Springs sprang up during Oklahoma's golden age of wealth and opportunity as the state's only planned industrial city. To understand Sand Springs, its significance, and its people, one must consider two curiously complementary factors: commercial enterprise and philanthropy. The town's founder, Charles Page, embodied both. Page was lured to Tulsa by the oil boom in 1903. He first drilled Pania, then Glenpool, Chandler, and Seminole. His Atlantic ore cut #1 site, shown here in 1912, is one example of his early finds that later formed the basis of his fortune. In 1908, he purchased a quarter section of land to the west of Tulsa. On this land, he eventually founded Sand Springs. In 1909, the Cross and Anchor Orphanage in Tulsa fell on hard times. Page, a longtime supporter of the orphanage, discovered the children were being sent with anyone who would care for them, and many siblings were separated. Page was deeply upset by this and paid off the debts of the closing orphanage, becoming the guardian for the remaining 25 children. He moved the children in wagons to land near Sand Springs and housed them in tents, and later 3 small cottages. He employed a matron, cook, and seamstress to care for the children. In 1910, Page constructed a dormitory to house 30 children, but within weeks of its completion, 30 additional children moved in. Children who came were either orphans or whose parents could no longer care for them. The Sand Springs home, incorporated in 1912, became their guardian. Adoption was not allowed because Page was adamant that siblings remain together. He also disliked the term orphanage, and instead on referring to it simply as the home. Charles Page spent the next decade of his life building additions on the home and spending time with the children whom he often referred to as his kids. Page worked diligently to provide activities and schooling that the children could use later in their adult lives. It was important to Page that his kids have the opportunity and activities other children often enjoyed. He arranged music lessons, sporting events, and holiday dinners to ensure the children were awarded the same privileges as those who were more fortunate. Each Sunday evening, Daddy Page, as he became called, would have dinner at home with the children. He often preferred to eat with his kids at their tables rather than sit at the main table with the rest of the adults. In 1912, Page began the construction of a widow's colony for widowed and divorced women with children to support. The colony consisted of 40 3-room shotgun houses. The colony grounds came complete with a chapel and a nursery. Each house was complete with free water, free gas, free electricity, free rent, and a quart of milk per child per day. On December 26, 1926, oilman, entrepreneur, and philanthropist Charles Page died at the age of 66 of complications from pneumonia. In 1929, to honor Page, his family in the Sand Springs home erected a large bronze statue in the center of downtown Sand Springs. Called the poor man's friend, Page's legacy is still strong today.